Welcome, friends, to the Stoic Balance. Once upon a time, in the bustling streets of ancient Rome, there lived a man named Seneca. He was a Stoic philosopher whose life was like a tapestry woven with threads of triumph and adversity. Seneca's journey was not an easy one. When he was 41 years old, Emperor Claudius accused him of adultery and exiled him from Rome without allowing him to defend himself. Banished to the distant island of Corsica, Seneca found himself far from the comforts and luxuries of his beloved city. But even in the face of such hardship, he refused to let his spirit be broken. Instead, he turned to the power of the written word, pouring his heart and soul onto the pages before him. In the solitude of his exile, Seneca's pen became his closest companion, and through it he gave birth to some of his most profound philosophical works. His Consolations, born from the depths of his own struggles, would go on to inspire and guide countless generations. As the years passed, Seneca's life continued to be a kaleidoscope of challenges and triumphs, and in the final chapter of his journey, he chose to impart his wisdom to his dear friend, the poet Lucilius. Through a series of letters, Seneca shared the invaluable lessons he had learned throughout his lifetime, all on how to live a good life. Today we embark on a quest to unravel the timeless teachings hidden within these letters. Like explorers of old, we shall navigate the landscape of Stoic philosophy, seeking to apply its profound truths to our modern lives. So come, friends, and let us be enlightened, inspired, and transformed by the enduring wisdom of Seneca, the exiled philosopher who refused to be silenced. Here we go with Lesson 101. Stop wasting time. In today's fast-paced and technology-driven world, Seneca's words ring truer than ever. Take a look at today. How much time have you already wasted? Think about what you could accomplish if you were using that time doing something to make your life better. Take a look at Seneca. He made the most of his time while in exile. Rather than just sitting around, Seneca spent time writing philosophical works that still apply today. He studied the island's geography and meteorology, which likely influenced his later work, Natural Question. Flash forward 2,000 years to modern times, where countless distractions vie for our attention. It makes it increasingly difficult to focus on what truly matters. Social media platforms bombard us with notifications, urging us to engage in endless scrolling and consuming content that adds little value to our lives. Streaming services offer an endless array of entertainment options, making it easy to lose track of time and neglect our responsibilities. Who hasn't spent a weekend binging on an entire series of a show on Netflix? Additionally, the pressure to be constantly connected and available through email, instant messaging, and video calls can leave us feeling overwhelmed and stretched thin. As a result, we often find ourselves wasting precious moments on trivial pursuits, procrastinating on important tasks, or simply drifting through life without a clear sense of purpose. To combat this, we must actively strive to reclaim control over our time and attention. If you want to make a change in your life, it is time to get serious. This involves setting clear boundaries around our technology use, prioritizing our goals and commitments, and cultivating mindfulness and presence in our daily lives. By being intentional about how we spend our time and energy, we can reduce the amount of time wasted on unproductive activities and create more space for the things that truly matter to us, such as personal growth, meaningful relationships, and pursuing our passions. For example, I personally have taken a huge break from social media and getting into other passions like photography and furthering my knowledge of Stoicism. Passing time in a meaningful way helps us to live a life that is truly fulfilling and purposeful. Stop wasting time and start accomplishing your goals. Lesson number 2, Carpe Diem, or seize the day, trusting as little as possible in the next one. Picture this. You're holding an hourglass, watching the grains of sand slip through your fingers, never to be reclaimed. Each grain represents a fleeting moment of your life, a precious commodity that can never be replaced. This powerful imagery is at the heart of Seneca's profound message to seize the day and make the most of every moment. He reminds us that a significant portion of our lives has already slipped away, forever lost to the clutches of death. But here's the thing. We often fall into the trap of believing that we have all the time in the world. We procrastinate, we postpone, we tell ourselves that we'll start that project tomorrow or pursue our dreams next year. But as Seneca warns, while we're busy putting things off, life is speeding by, like a runaway train that we can't stop. Imagine you've been meaning to reconnect with an old friend, but you keep postponing that phone call or email, always finding an excuse. Then one day, you realize that it's too late. That friend is no longer with us. These are the tragic consequences of failing to seize the day, of allowing procrastination and fear to hold us back from living life to the fullest. Seneca urges us to break free from this cycle, to grasp each hour and make the most of it. He advises us to tackle the tasks before us today, rather than relying on the uncertain promise of tomorrow. But living each day to the fullest doesn't mean we have to embark on grand adventures or achieve monumental feats. It's about being present in the moment, finding joy in the simple pleasures of life, and cultivating meaningful relationships. It's about taking the time to appreciate the beauty of a sunset, the laughter of a child, or the warmth of a heartfelt conversation. So, how can we put Seneca's wisdom into practice? Start by setting aside time each day to pursue your passions, whether it's learning a new skill, exploring a creative outlet, or volunteering for a cause you believe in. Reach out to loved ones and strengthen those bonds that make life worth living. And most importantly, don't wait for the perfect moment or ideal circumstances. Act with urgency and purpose, knowing that each day is a gift. In the end, Seneca's message is a wake-up call, a reminder that we are all dying a little bit each day. But rather than being morbid, this realization can be empowering, inspiring us to make the most of the time we have. So seize the day, my friends, and make every moment count. Because when that final grain of sand falls, you'll want to look back on a life well lived, filled with purpose, passion, and the rich tapestry of experiences that make us human. Lesson number 3: live in moderation and be self-sufficient. These ideas are key to Stoic thinking and are seen as necessary for a good life. Moderation means controlling yourself and not going too far with your actions or wants. Seneca tells Lucilius to live simply and not to have too many things or enjoy too much pleasure. He says that by keeping our wants under control and living within our means, we can be happy and peaceful inside. Seneca writes, "I don't mind you having what you need, but I want you to have it without being afraid. And you will only have it without being afraid if you believe you can live happily without it." This shows how important it is to not be too attached to things and to believe that true happiness comes from inside, not from outside. Self-sufficiency means being able to rely on yourself and not needing other people or things. Seneca tells Lucilius to grow his inner strength and toughness so he can face life's problems calmly. Seneca writes, "The wise man is self-sufficient and can do without friends, not that he wants to do without them." When I say can, I mean he can handle losing a friend calmly. This suggests that while friends are important, a wise person should be able to stay calm inside, even when bad things happen. The Stoic ideas of moderation and self-sufficiency come from the belief that true happiness and fulfillment come from living based on reason and being a good person. By developing these qualities, a person can be peaceful and happy inside, no matter what happens outside. Lesson number 4: avoid dependency on external things. When we rely on things outside of us to make us happy, we can easily get hurt. We might feel good when things go well, but we'll feel bad when things change. By putting our worth in the hands of others, we give up our power. Instead, it's important to focus on what we can control, our thoughts and actions. By being strong inside and living with reason and goodness, we can stay calm no matter what happens. We learn to accept life as it comes, knowing our true value is in who we are, not in things that don't last. It's also wise not to get too attached to money, fame, or other worldly things. These things don't really matter and can even stop us from being happy. By always wanting more, we become slaves to our wants and fears, never feeling satisfied. Think of life like a trip. No, we should go through it lightly, not carrying too much stuff or attachments. By making our lives simpler and focusing on what matters, our character, loved ones, and helping the world, we can find a deeper sense of meaning. The key message is about being strong and counting on yourself. By growing our inner strength, wisdom, and goodness, we can handle anything and be happy, no matter what's going on outside of us. We become in charge of our own lives, not at the mercy of luck or what others think. This way we can live a life of true freedom, purpose, and growth. Lesson number 5. Take the inevitable act of aging with equanimity. In his 13th letter to Lucilius, Seneca talks about a topic that is still very important today: how to deal with the fact that our bodies get weaker as we get older. When we age, we lose the strength and energy we had when we were young. This can make many people feel very worried and upset. But Seneca tells us to handle this part of life with calmness and peace. He reminds us that everyone goes through this if they live long enough. It's just a normal part of being human. Rather than fighting against it or complaining about it, the Stoic way is to accept it with a calm mind. Seneca says that the happiest person is the one who can face tomorrow without fear. If we have lived in a good way, following reason and doing what's right, then we can face the end of our lives feeling happy with what we've done. Seneca also says that in some ways, the limits that come with being old can be a good thing. They remind us that we won't live forever and that our time is precious. They make us focus on what really matters: our character, our relationships, our inner peace, rather than chasing after things that don't last, like looks, money, or popularity. Seneca himself was a good example of this. Even though he was an important politician and advisor to the Emperor Nero, he lived in a simple way and spent his time on philosophy and making himself a better person. When Nero ordered him to end his own life, he faced his death calmly and bravely, with his family and friends around him. His message to us is easy to understand. While we can't stop our bodies from getting older, we can control how we think about it and how we live. By growing in wisdom, goodness, and inner happiness, we can find joy and purpose at every age. We can face getting older and even dying with the calm and strength of a true Stoic wise person. And lastly, Lesson 6. Realize the importance of true friends. Seneca reflects on the nature of true friendship, drawing a sharp distinction between false friends who merely flatter and enable, and true friends who have the courage to offer constructive criticism to help their friends grow and improve. Seneca warns that many so-called friends are really just flatterers, telling us what we want to hear to stay in our good graces and benefit themselves. These false friends shy away from giving tough but necessary feedback, afraid to bruise our egos and enable our flaws and vices. Surrounding ourselves with flatterers feeds our pride and stunts our growth, leading us to become complacent and falsely believe we are perfect as we are. In contrast, a true friend has the wisdom and courage to tell it like it is, pointing out our flaws and failings even when it's uncomfortable. Sincere friends want what's best for us and are willing to risk temporary offense to help us recognize and overcome our weaknesses. They genuinely want to see us succeed and reach our full potential. Accepting constructive criticism from trusted friends reveals the truth about ourselves and motivates us to address our faults and limitations. Seneca teaches that to achieve wisdom, virtue, and peace of mind, we must be relentlessly honest with ourselves, and true friends facilitate this. Friends who provide loving but firm correction are invaluable aids in our moral and personal development, inspiring us to be our best selves. Cultivating true friendships requires humility, self-awareness, and openness to change, as we must be willing to hear hard truths. Seneca's words ring as true today as ever. In a world of shallow, transactional relationships, true friendship is a rare gift. We should seek out wise, caring friends who will spur us on to growth and self-improvement, have the courage to welcome their constructive criticism, and strive to be this kind of friend ourselves, honest, insightful, and motivated by a genuine desire to see our friends flourish. In doing so, we'll progress on the path to wisdom and fulfillment. In conclusion, Seneca's letters to Lucilius offer timeless wisdom on living a good life through the lens of Stoic philosophy. These teachings can help us cultivate resilience, contentment, and a sense of purpose in an ever-changing world. Thank you for watching this video on the Stoic wisdom found in Seneca's letters. If you found value in these insights, please consider subscribing to our channel for more content on philosophy, personal growth, and living a meaningful life. Thank you, and stay Stoic.